Hey, listeners, welcome to Mixtapes Mopeds with the great Red Wheels and Panda. Thank you so much. We still are the fastest growing podcast on the internet. Thank you so much for everybody giving your feedback. We love the loyal following. You know, what I really thought about, we're kind of like a streaming video that says, I can't get enough. Right now, I'm kind of like Landman. I can't get enough of Landman.
Oh, I
Uh,
haven't watched that yet.
Oh my God, that's you've got to get to Landman if you're spending
Billy
eight
Bob,
bucks.
right?
Billy Bob Thornton. So if this is dating us, go watch Landman. It is absolutely awesome. Can't wait to see that. We finished out the season, so we may be dating ourselves, but keep on watching the Red Wheels and Panda podcast, and we love to get your feedback. And we can't wait to get to the next podcast. Thanks for all you loyal listeners. So, what say you, Panda?
Yeah, it's good to be back with you. Seems like it's been a minute. We've both been busy. I mean, you're really busy, but I'm also trying to get this house ready to be sold. And uh, I had this really odd experience that I thought I would share.
I
So
haven't heard this.
I
I
know
haven't.
it's kind of all right. So about 3 or 4 months ago, and so we had built this garage and then put this really nice garage door on it. And about 3 or 4 months ago, uh, I'm gonna I'm gonna try to force Jill onto the podcast to defend herself, but Jill damaged the garage door, and the
Jill, we know it's not your fault. We know it's not your fault.
there's a story to it, but at the end of the day, her vehicle damaged it, so I'm gonna go with that anyway.
I'm on your side, Jill.
Anyway.
I have friends. We can do something.
So there's like three panels in this door, and the bottom one is just totally warped. So a long time ago, I had them come out and say, we need a new one. Anyway, so they come out, and I'm like, oh, cool. Finally, like 2 months later, the guys come out, and so I let them do their thing, and then finally they knock on the door. It's like, yeah, we didn't apparently measure. You have a special size door, and yours is 2 inches shorter than normal, so this doesn't fit. And I'm
I
like,
understand your 2 inches shorter problem.
ah, nicely played. Nicely played. Anyway,
Garage,
so
garage.
that sucked because we need to get this done, but that's not really very noteworthy. So I go back in the office. I kind of grumble, like, whatever. Just tell me when the replacement's coming. And I go back in like 20 minutes later. Then I hear a knock on the door, and it's the same guy. I'm like, what the heck? He left like 20 minutes ago. And then he says, I got some bad news for you. So, for those of you who don't know, we have about a 350-foot driveway. It goes uphill and around a little bit of a corner there. And you, Steve knows it's not exactly the wide, it's normal, but if you go off, you're kind of in a world of hurt. So anyway, the one truck went down fine. The other truck who had pulled up, and because we knew this was an issue, we put, and Steve, you can validate, there's enough gravel at the top of our driveway where you could turn around a small semi
I was gonna
truck.
say you could pull around a semi and that deal,
You
load,
could
unload pallets,
Yeah,
and be fine.
exactly.
It's
So
huge.
that's why we did it, right? Well, this one guy thought he was smarter than that, and he decided to back down the driveway. And come to find out, he went off the edge, both tires, and he and his buddy thought he would kind of nudge him with this truck to get him out. And by the time they got to me, there was a 150-foot, like 3 foot deep, like trench in my yard all the way down the driveway. And
You
this
got a river
guy,
now,
yeah,
especially tonight.
this guy had the walk of shame. Not only did they deliver the wrong door, then they have to tell me that, and it literally blocked
Your
him.
walk of shame is a little different than my walk of shame.
Well, let's talk about that, Steve. I'd like to hear about your walks of shame. I'm sure there's more than one we can talk about if you like. Anyway, they blocked our driveway for like 6 hours, but we went out of town and I made them. They came out and they put dirt in and put pine straw down, and so technically okay now, but
Jill, I'm on your side. I'm still nursing a garage door that I bumped with my car of about 6 years ago, and it's got this little indent. And every day when I hit the garage door button, I'm going, please open, please open.
yeah,
I fixed it just good enough that it still opens and closes, and I know that it's broken. Now my wife knows because she will watch this podcast.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand.
It happens. Well, this one is more than just a smidge, and I got it to open and close, so that's not a problem. But if you're going to sell the house, we felt like I had to replace it, so that's why we did it. So anyway, now I got another 2 month wait and a based
Two
yard.
months
So
to get that panel.
well, it's
Golly,
specially
2 inches.
made. Yeah,
Golly,
weird
I wouldn't
size.
want to know how much that is. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
For one
yeah.
little, it's one panel. It's $1,600.
Garage doors are not cheap. They
Not
are
at all.
expensive.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the kind of stuff I've been dealing with. And now I'm digging, trying to find a electrical line that got cut between our house and this shed when we did all the landscaping. It's been dark for like 3 years. And now I gotta get that fixed so we can have lights and power up there. So I'm just dealing with all kinds of crap right now.
You have your little
But
metal detector out there in the yard going, woo-doo-doo. Yeah, wearing your earphones you got on,
I
finding the.
found I found the conduit, like 15 feet of conduit where I thought it had been broken. There's like three broken wires, but there's perfectly good conduit. So I don't know where it is. I'm done. I can't. My back is killing me. I'm gonna go hire some guy to just start digging it up and finding this cut. I'm
I'll say
crazy.
that'll take you like 10 minutes. You know that guy, those guys will be
Oh
boom,
yeah.
boom,
Oh yeah.
because they'll
For
send a little
me,
electric current that'll have a little sound wave that goes through it, and then they'll just have a little sensor goes over here, and they have another little one sends us a little sound current, and they go, oh, here they are. It's actually relatively simple, except for the dead spot's easy to find. The live spot, I don't know how they do. Well, turn off circuit, I guess.
I guess. Well, I don't know about you, but like I used to do, a lot of work myself. I did a lot of projects, particularly in the yard. But I mean, literally, I was for like 10 minutes, I was, got the pitch, the whatever I was digging this trench, and I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I mean, I'm officially at the age I cannot do that anymore without like hurting my back and put myself in great pain. So I'm done. I'm worthless these days.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Welcome to our audience of listeners. That's the same deal. I can actually do it. I can still do that stuff, but I wear out. I'm a good 20 minutes in. I went,
Yeah, well, that's it.
and
Yeah.
I'm going now. I'm done. Then I lay on the couch for an hour and go back out, and there's
I
forget
need a
it.
nap. I worked 20 minutes. I'm like, okay,
I'm
it's
not
time
doing
for a
that crap
nap.
anymore. I'm
That's
not doing that
amazing.
crap anymore.
Yeah. All
I'm
right, that's
sorry to
my
hear that,
story.
Panda. That's a good story. So here's my commercial. I love National Car and Enterprise. They're the best company. Commercial time, National Car is the best. Enterprise the best. That company that has the red and white sign that has this in it, they are horrible creatures, and hopefully they go out of business. I have had experience, and I love the Seinfeld episode. And I posted this on Facebook, and I love it when the little Seinfeld episode that he walks in there and says, she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, we have no cars available at the moment." And Jerry says, "Wait a minute. I know I had a reservation. Do you have my reservation?" "Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, I've got your info reservation, but unfortunately, we ran out of cars." "But the reservation actually keeps the car here, right? That's how it works." "That's why we have the reservation." "I know why we have the reservation. I don't think you do. If you did, I'd have a car. You how to take the reservation. You just don't know how to hold and keep the reservation." Mine was the same deal. I had a rental for $42, and they go, I'm sorry, you don't have the right code. You're $188. So we had a little argument, and the lady was not so well. Then I spent it on hold for another 90 minutes. And then that lady was very rude on the phone. I said, well, I'm going to tell social media in every aspect I possibly can, stay away from the one that goes this and it's red and white.
It rhymes with Mavis.
Yeah, rhymes. Oh, there we go. Rhymes with Mavis. Rhymes with uvula.
By the way, that is one of the all-time great Seinfeld episodes.
Ever,
Oh my
ever.
God.
I mean, the whole time you're just cracking up, dying
The
laughing.
brilliance of Larry David and that mind, just unbelievable. And I'm sure Seinfeld
Yeah,
contributes
which
to all
one
that,
was
but
it? Was it Larry David or was it
who
Seinfeld?
knows?
Both
Whoever
of
did
them.
that, just genius.
Well, that's the week in our lives. Hope you guys had a little chuckle. We know, matter of fact, I saw in my Facebook post how many other people had the same bad experience with that. Rhymes with Mavis company. Do not use those guys. Go find anybody else. Avoid them at all costs. All right, around the horn. We've had the NFL Combine right now this
Yeah,
part of the year.
yeah.
What
That's
say you, Panda?
so 15 Buckeyes, which I think was a record or tied a record. I think they showed out, but here's one of the things, everybody gets all excited because you get to watch for like 4 or 5 days, all these players go through their drills, run the 40, high jump, long jump, all those things. But you got Will Howard. He just led his team to a national championship against four, phenomenal teams, back to back to back to back, 73% completion rate for the year, 75% in the playoffs against those four teams. And he comes out and he's throwing to receivers he's never met before. And a quarterback and a receiver have to have some kind of like repetition to kind of get on the same page. And he threw like a handful of passes like over their head or whatever. And people were like, "Oh, he's terrible." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Did you not watch any of the college football playoffs? And you think that what you saw in Indianapolis trumps what happened on the field? It just drives me crazy that these NFL like supposedly genius scouts and player evaluators, they're going to take that and just say, "Oh, well, that guy can't play." It's just ridiculous to me.
I will say my listening to that number one is watching. So I watched the offensive lineman and seeing a 330-pound human being that's 6'5" or 6'6" running that 40-yard dash and getting it timed, and he's under 5.0. To me, just flat out blows my mind. But seeing that, but one of my other favorite ones was old Benny Hartsock, which a Buckeye guy, and he said his favorite interview, and those teams put them through the grinder of all the types of questions and just crappy situations that put them in interviews during that period of time. But my favorite was the team that drafted him was the Colts, and it was Tony Dungy. And he goes, the team that drafted me was the best interview. It was two fold up iron chairs, and it was me and Tony Dungy. And he asked me, and he was just drilling me on my football smarts, my family, and my how I was going to help the team. And that's all he drilled me on. And that's what he was looking for was how do I be a better person for the team? All the rest of them looked for some stupid criteria.
Yeah.
And I went, that seems to me to be the way you'd want to run your process instead of having 20 guys drilling you so many different tests, different ways. I love that about,
That's
especially,
what
Tony Dungy. Come on.
that's
He's,
why he's a
he's,
Hall of Famer, man. He just was different. He was different.
Brings exactly. He's one of my favorite coaches of all time.
Yep.
I love that
Absolutely.
guy.
Yep.
By the way, kind of related to him, but kind of,
Kinda.
kind of. Yeah, my cousin.
Distantly.
My cousin married his. My cousin is married to his. Her husband is his wife's brother sister.
Yeah. So your coattail relatives. Got it.
Yeah, go tell her. I never ask for tickets. I don't call him up and say, "Hey, can I talk to Tony on the podcast?"
Hey, great idea. Come
Hey,
on,
wait a
man.
minute.
Pull
What am
your
I
weight.
doing?
Get Tony Dungy on here.
What am I
They
doing?
got tens and tens of followers.
We might hit 100.
Oh man,
All
that's
right,
funny.
Panda, we have coming up here. You know what? For all of us college football fans, it's now the time of the year that we now switch your hats on and we start thinking about because we don't care about November, December, January, February. Now we go, ba-ding! March 1st hits. It's time to pay a little attention. It's time to pay a little
Yeah,
attention to March Madness. What
yeah.
say you, Panda?
It's
I've got
Madnessville.
to do a wardrobe change.
Okay. Oh boy, what do we got going here? What is this? What is that? I can't tell what it is. It looks like South Carolina, Alabama. Is that Alabama?
Yeah, we gotta have a little bit of Bama,
A little Bammer.
little bit of Carolina
Carolina. Yeah,
Gamecocks,
got it. Yeah.
and a little bit of
Little War Eagle.
little Auburn, a
Yeah.
little bit of War Eagle. So
Who knew
I
the
got to be
SEC
out
was
there
so good at basketball?
Supporting my Bama,
Well,
and I've
Bama's
got no
good.
Ohio State because if Ohio State makes a tournament, I think it might be a shame, but they still have a shot.
Well, they're playing tonight, so if they beat Nebraska, then I think they're probably a decent shot to get in. But yeah, that was what I was going to ask about. Is do you think the Buckeyes make it? I think they got two
Don't they
games left.
play Indiana?
They got Indiana this weekend, Nebraska tonight.
I
So
think Indiana. If they beat Indiana, they're in tonight. Probably they need to beat Nebraska, but I think Indiana is the final bubble. I think
yeah,
Indiana. If Indiana beats Ohio State, they're in. Ohio State's out.
Ohio
If
State's strength of schedule is in the top 30 in the country. I mean, they're set up well from they have no bad losses, no quad three, four losses, only and they've got six, I think, quad one wins. So they're set up pretty well, but the record just isn't great. So I think they do have to win two more games, whether it's the next two or one of the next two, and then at least one in the Big Ten tournament. And I think they're in. So that would be my point of view on that.
we just bought tickets for the Friday of in Atlanta,
Hmm.
Sweet 16 is in Atlanta.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, you might want to look if you have any interest.
yeah.
I don't know where Ohio State's going to pop up, but I bought them early because it's either Auburn or Duke that'll get the South region.
Mm,
And as
hmm.
long as Auburn doesn't have, they've got to play Texas A&M and Alabama in their last games. Go Alabama!
Well,
Love the
Alabama
Oreos.
is really good this year. I mean, I know them from the Buckeyes playing them last year and actually beat them, but Alabama then went on that big run, got really good last year. But Auburn, man, they are,
They're a
man,
fun team to
loaded.
watch. I
They are
really like
loaded.
that team. But I love the Alabama team. Their point guard, Sears, is from Ohio University. His freshman year, that's where he started. And then Alabama came knocking on the door and threw him some cash.
Yeah.
And heck, yeah,
Hey,
that was where he should go. I mean, I wouldn't argue against him. He did the right thing.
yeah, SEC is loaded this year. I mean, wants to call them a football conference, which of course they have been for a while, but I mean, they're easily the best basketball conference this year, just top to bottom. Even my Vandy, look, Vandy's in the tournament. They're going to make it. They're
Easily.
21
Yeah,
wins. They're solidly in. So, uh,
solidly. And yeah.
yeah, so
And
SEC
all their
is,
teams are fun to watch. Watching this year. No offense, Big Ten, but Big Ten has really stunk it up. The only team I kind of can stand is Michigan State, and I kind of like watching those guys. But
it's
after
so
that,
frustrating to be a Big Ten basketball fan. And this conference, there is loaded with really good teams, but it's never got that elite team. And they haven't won a national championship since like as long as I can remember. It's because
2000, it's been since
God,
2000.
that's unbelievable and
And we've had a lot of in
inexcusable.
the championship game as we
Oh
do the
yeah,
Buckeyes
plenty,
there
plenty,
twice, right?
yeah, plenty of opportunity, but it's just unbelievable. So the Big Ten this year is, I would say, very solid. Going to get a lot of teams in. Like I've heard, like 13 teams could get in from the Big Ten, or no, 13 SEC and 11 Big Ten. But none of those Big Ten teams are a real threat to beat Auburn or any of these elite SEC
I
teams or
think the most
Duke.
interesting conference to me is the Big East, and followed quickly by the Big 12. Those two
Big
conferences are
12 is good.
interesting.
Yeah, Big East is always good, although
Old Ricky Pitino with St. Joe's, man.
St. John's.
Ah,
Yeah,
St. John's.
yeah,
I said St.
yeah.
Joe's. St. John's, yes. St. Joe? St. John's?
St.
St.
John's.
Joe's.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Um, it struck a thought for me. The college basketball, we think college football is kind of shady. Well, NIL has kind of made it less
Oh,
shady,
golly.
but college basketball is the shadiest of
Of
all
all
shady.
the
It
shady,
is
yes.
ridiculous. And so you think about, and I don't want to, I know you love, Stones at Auburn and all that, but Bruce Pearl is freaking shady as can be. Rick Pitino is shady as can be. Bill Self, shady. You got all these shady coaches and they're having success, and you start to wonder, like, Ohio State, they hired a really upstanding young coach, and I'm like, go get your own shady coach. I don't know if that's what it takes. I mean, at this point, I'm like, just do whatever it takes.
I hear that and I go, yeah, I hear you,
I
but
don't really, I don't really mean that, but it does piss me off when some of these shady coaches are, Sean, what's his face, Xavier, he's from Arizona, shady. That LSU coach, I'm sure he'll be back in it. He was on tape, paying players off, and he'll probably be back as the head coach somewhere in Power Four before you know it. So just crazy.
I hear you. I hear it. I hear it. I hear it. Okay. You're headed back to the motherland. What's
Yeah,
happening?
heading back tomorrow. My unfortunately for not the right reasons, but my uncle passed away the other day, so we've got service coming up in a couple of days. So yeah, we're heading back tomorrow, and we'll be back there for a couple of days. So yeah, not the reason we want to be back there. My uncle, I think he was 87, lived a good long life, and I tell you, when I was growing up, we used to. I've talked about it out here, but we used to go to Colorado and go on these trips for 2 weeks, and we get motorcycles and we go up into the Rockies, and we had friends out there, the Bushes. These brothers Gary and Eugene Bush were just crazy in the head, just crazy, but in a
I
good.
thought you meant
And
they were in the bushes. Their last name was
no, their
Bushes.
last name was
Okay. So
Bush.
are they
Yeah,
related to Floyd
from
somehow,
Bremen.
some way?
No, from Bremen. They moved to Colorado, and just these two brothers, and they were friends with my dad and my uncle, and we would go out there, and those are just like the best times of my life, just going out as a young kid, doing that for 2 weeks, and my uncle was a big part of that, and we'd go out and we'd kind of caravan out in our motor RVs, pulling our motorcycles behind, and yeah, I'll be probably thinking about those days when on the trip back to Ohio. So he'll be missed. So it's always sad when that happens.
Yeah, I was lucky the last week to be part of like three happy situations. And I'll tell you one of the weirdest, sad situations when we get to our age and our listener base is about that same place. We have a lot of sad situations, but at our age, I was in a wedding. The other three guys or that were four guys that were in the wedding. We were all close to the same age and looked at each other. When was the last time you were in a wedding?
Wow. Yeah.
I went, holy God Almighty! I go, that's a good question. I had to really dial it back on. I really had to go back far. They go, was it your own wedding? I go, that's pretty darn close, but I think I was in one 1 year after that. But good golly.
Wow. Yeah. I can't.
It was weird being inside the wedding and looking out there and not being the person, walking a kid down the aisle or, rooting on a child, one of a friend's kids that are and sitting in the audience. But yeah, but it was a happy moment. So, those are the times you like to get together for those
Yeah.
happy moments.
Yeah.
All right, we
Absolutely.
have a new feature coming out.
Yep.
Go ahead, Panda.
Yep.
Talk
I'll
about.
set it up. So segment one, we're gonna probably make this a recurring, if not a regular feature. So calling it underrated 80s. So Wheels and I will each week or each show we will pick out something from the 80s that we feel is underrated. It could be a song, it could be a band, an album, it could be a movie, it could be an actor, it could be an athlete, a team, anything from the 80s, and we will make the case for why it was underrated and deserving of more attention. So that's what this segment is. And so, Steve, Wheels, it sounds like you have a good one. So I'm going to let you kind of go first on this one. So what do you got here? Underrated
Well,
80s.
I had one that I prepared for, but as I went on my walk tonight ago, I changed my mind. I had one I
Okay.
prepared for this, so this one well, it could be. So actually, I think the very underrated thing we can think about from where we are at in today's society to what was in the 1980s was actually talking to everyone and talking to girls or talking to boys or talking to somebody, which led to my next part of that is making out in the back seat of a car. Very, very underrated.
you imagine, like our kids, they didn't have the benefit of drive-in theaters where they could see all that.
Drive-in theater, farms, whole
Yeah.
God knows. Parents are out of town in their driveway.
Oh
Go,
my
God.
God.
You pick 100 of them.
Oh my God. I did not see you going
Very,
there.
very underrated.
Oh, well, it's hard to argue with that one. I got you. I smell what you're cooking
Winner,
there.
winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah, there you go. Mine's going to be very plain as compared to that. Oh my God. Well done. Well played. I like that. That was our first introduction to this new segment. I love it. That's awesome. All right, I'll get you into mine. So I wasn't really thinking along your lines, but I know where your mind is most of the time anyway, so really not too surprising. You know where my mind is most of the time, so this isn't going to be very surprising either. So I was thinking about you though when I came up with this first one, because I have a bunch of these underrateds, in my head. But I decided for this first one, I was thinking about you because I know one of your favorite bands, if not your favorite band ever, is Led Zeppelin. And so, you know, I obviously love Led Zeppelin, not probably as much as you do. And we've, been to the Jason Bonham Led Zeppelin experience and had a blast out of all that. And I get tired. So their first four albums, one, two, three, and four, are probably as good of albums that have ever been produced. And then they throw in Houses of Holy and Presence and Physical Graffiti and all that. But what really gets me red in the face when I hear people say that they were going downhill at the end of their time and their last album, which was In Through the Outdoor, was not a good album. And I have to say, time out here, people. Let's get real. Their first three or four albums were probably three or four of the best rock albums that were ever produced. So if you want to compare everything they did after that to those four albums, pretty much everything is going to not be as good or maybe even suck. But I'm here to say that underrated albums of all time for me is Into the Outdoor. That album is loaded with songs. It's Fool in the Rain is one of their best songs ever. Hot Dog, I love that song. All My Love is a great song. In the Evening is another great. It's loaded.
Oh, man.
Yeah, yeah. And so what people don't like about it is they started bringing in like keyboards and a little bit of like a synthy sound, which was kind of an evolution for them. But man, I would have loved to have heard where they were going to take that sound. But obviously, John Bonham died. This album came out in '79, and he died in '79 or '80. They didn't get another album out. I would have loved to have heard the successor to that album. But anybody wants to talk about how that's not a great album around me is not gonna get agreement for me. I think it is a very, very underrated album. So that's my first entry to this segment.
Well, you
Love
were
that album.
definitely right up my line. But I win. Making out in the back seat definitely trumps the last album of Led Zeppelin. Although you
Oh.
grabbed my, I had another good one for you too, but it wasn't as funny as that one. All right, we go back to that same thing. Everybody in high school, going through school. One thing for all of our listeners, I want to make you think. Back in the day, when you went through junior high and high school, what was your favorite class and your least favorite class? It could be the teacher, but it had to be high school. In that time period, what was your favorite class? There's so many teachers that had an effect on us. Either they kicked us or kicked our butts. They did something to inspire us. They made us think. They made us do something differently. They said, you know what? I should do this, X, Y, and Z. And then there's those other ones you went, oh my God. And I can think of fifth grade where I had a teacher that absolutely they took him off to the crazy house in fifth grade. So you think of the worst teachers you ever had in that same time period. So, Mr. Panda, who was your? Let's start off with only your worst. Is there? We're going to kick it off with the worst
Okay.
first.
All right. So the worst one is very easy for me. So I took AP calculus class with, I think it was Mr. Westfall, or I think it was
Yeah,
Westfall.
yeah, man, that was on my borderline. Yeah.
Yeah, and
You
so
were in the
that was
class after me.
yeah, so that was a class where, since it was AP, you could get nothing lower than a B. And so PJ Shore and I were in that class together, and we played, that football game. We had a little piece of paper, and you flicked it between your fingers, whatever. We would play that. And so I remember there were 6 weeks, uh, whatever you called them, grading periods, right? And I remember one 6 week grading period. I think I got 17 points out of like 800 points possible.
Take
I
my
got
B.
I got 17. I got a B. And the guy, the Frank, I think was his first day, he was like, "Hey,
Frank,
Mr. Young, gotta
Frank
talk to
Westall.
you. Yeah, I
Yeah.
gotta talk to you." He goes, "Dude, yeah, if you're not taking this class seriously, then I'm going to give you a C, even though the policy says that you can't get one." So he said, "You better." So I turned around the next 6 week period, I get an A. So I put in the time, get an A. And then he gets off my back, and then PJ and I just continue to mess around in the back, and I get B's, I think, the rest of the time, but didn't quite sink down to the level of the 17 out of 800 or whatever. So I never, the problem is I was a math guy, but calculus is really hard, and he was incapable of teaching that subject to a
Incapable.
normal
Yeah,
a
I had
human being.
pre-calc. I didn't step up to that class. I took pre-calc, and that was for A, B, C's. And I had to actually work in that for my B's and C's, and it was
Yeah.
freaking hard.
And was he your
Uh,
teacher too?
yeah, it was like third period, fourth period. I had him third period. You guys were fourth period
Yeah.
because they'd always go, yeah, the next class, the third people are.
Smart people getting 17 of 800.
He was a whole, yeah.
He was not a good, I mean, nice
God rest his
man.
soul. If that guy's
Yeah.
still alive, he's 99.
Yeah. But he was just, yeah, not a good teacher. So that was my most hated class. How about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go about the same direction. Mine was Latin with
Oh,
oh God, I took it in ninth grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade, thinking I was gonna go pre-med. Then I took blue biology, and that sealed that deal.
who was the teacher?
Rafael Fayetta.
No, Remo. Remo
Remo
Fayetta. I had him
Fayetta.
for French class.
French. He taught French and Latin.
Remo Fayetta from
Right.
Pescara, Italy.
And it,
Pescara.
I can't say it was because of him. You know what? I can't say. I don't want to put down the poor guy because he really tried.
He did
But
try.
he tried, but it was Latin for God's sakes. The only person that speaks that is the Pope. There's not a person on the planet that speaks Latin. And so you can't relate to it, and it's all memorization, which is my worst subject, is memorizing some darn line.
Yeah.
All I know, I mean, I'd memorize it for the week, and all I could say from Latin right now is "A2 Brute, A2." That's it.
That's not
Yeah,
really going
so
very deep into the language there, Steve.
yeah, not going very deep into language. So
Rainbow Fayette, I can't believe he taught you too. He actually was such, I had him for French my freshman year. He was, like you said, he was a nice man. He was
nice
so
man.
into it. He tried to help you. He was positive. He was like
Yes.
over the top, like friendly, whatever. But I can only imagine French. He was because he was Italian, so French he was probably okay, and Latin. I mean, that's just a hard language anyway. I would have never taken Latin. There's no way.
Oh, God, I don't know why I picked that. I was thinking some going in medical or
Yeah.
what. All I looked at as a kid was going, how do I make the most money? I'll be a doctor. That's what I'll go be. And then my grades started showing up. I go, nope,
Oops.
we got to go
Okay.
find another direction.
Next.
Next. Which leads me to the next one. I'll take over the best one. So there's plenty of best ones. We talked about a best one, and both of us have a best one on a former podcast. But I'm gonna go fishing back into eighth grade, and a big shout out. He played golf with my father here for a couple times. I mean, my dad moved out of Lancaster, but he was a wonderful person, and this guy kicked my butt. He kicked my butt, and I was always appreciative because he used to when you did the worst grade in the class, you had to sit in the front row. And Lord knows you never wanted to sit in the front row when you got the worst. Nobody wanted to sit in the front row ever. You wanted to be in the back row, and so I would score on a test. I'd be in the front row, and he would pull me aside from everybody else and go, Steve, you're much smarter than this. You need to be in the back row. You better do better on the next test. And that was Mr. Radashida. And that guy, I loved him because he would just step up. He wouldn't yell at you. He'd just go, "You're smarter than this." And just that little small, and he did it all the time. You're better than this. Go out there, be better than this. And he would work with you individually. And so I always loved that guy. He kind of had a little heart for me to keep on going from a math perspective. I should have taken calculus and played football with
There
PJ and
you go.
Andy.
Yeah.
Because I sure as hell didn't learn anything from, I had to relearn algebra excuse me, calculus when I got to college. And it took me 2 semesters or quarters to get through that one.
I
So having
took
a bad
3 semesters of calculus at Vanderbilt, and I don't think I ever really fully understood calculus, and I certainly didn't get anything out of my high school experience. So,
I
yeah.
ended up tutoring calculus in college. That was
Oh
how I
my.
made some cash. Man, I made a lot of cash because I had to tutor the business people. It was one of my better ones, or that stuff just
Ouch.
all of a sudden it was like
It clicked.
it clicks, right? As soon as you have a click in the math, the world just visualizes. What's that movie with where you see everything in the another dimension
Mm.
with
Beautiful
Keanu,
mind.
no Reeves, that Kanana Reeves or whatever the hell heck his
Huh?
name.
What
The
movie? I don't know what movie you're talking about.
he's got
Oh,
three
The
versions.
Matrix. The Matrix.
Matrix,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Where you go, you're seeing it in another dimension, and
yeah,
that
yeah.
was as soon as you hit that, it's like runner's high. I had runner's high in calculus, but it took a long time to get to that spot. Now I've completely lost runner's high.
So what class did he teach you?
Yeah, eighth grade algebra was
Oh,
not
it's
high school. It
algebra.
was eighth
Okay,
grade algebra.
got it. You're going to
All
be
right.
shocked. You're going to be shocked about my favorite class because I know we said, well, we're not going to do Locasco. And so my favorite class outside of that was shop class, if you can believe that. I, I liked building stuff with my hands. So we built like a candle like holder and, we
High
towel
school or
rack.
was that
It was high
junior
school.
high school?
Yeah.
I took the same guy. Do you remember? I don't remember the teacher's name.
I don't remember the teacher's name at
That's one
all.
of my favorite classes of all was drafting class.
You know what? Maybe,
I
you
made
know
more
what?
money off drafting class than anything else.
I wonder if maybe it wasn't junior high now that I'm thinking about it. Now that you say that,
When you
and
say that, that was junior high. You had to take.
I was junior high, so that was junior high. It wasn't high school. You're right. But
We
I
had
still
Mr.
enjoyed that.
Dow. We had Dow and Sherman. I don't know who you had at
I
Ewing.
don't remember the name, but it was a fun class. You got to make tangible things. I liked it, kind of intrigued me, like, oh, you have to do this before you can do that. So I liked kind of the thinking you had to actually plan out what you were going to do. It wasn't like, hey, let's go chop some wood, glue it together, and you end up with a piece of furniture. It was really you had to think of and then we practiced like an assembly line. So you drilled the holes, and the next person created the wood that went into the holes, and next thing you know, you wake up with
Wow,
a
little
chair.
Toyota Kanban. There we
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
Holy crap. They
I
were
enjoyed
teaching it
that.
back then.
Yeah, that was a fun class.
I'll scare you. I still have both the things I made in seventh, eighth
Hmm.
grade. It was a chessboard. You had to make the wood in the bottom, and then you had to sketch the plastic thing that sat on top of it, and a vise. And I still have that vise down
Oh
in my
wow.
workshop. I have that checkerboard. Then we played chess with the kids. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's awesome. My stuff's
Same
long gone.
two deals. Yeah. Well, they should be long gone, but I can't let me throw them away. But I'm sure the next house, those things are like long gone. That's good. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. The fun classes.
Yeah, that
Okay,
was
we're
fun.
going to now jump into, this one is tough because it's just localized. So we're going to go through something where we talk about our hated rival. We come from all over the country. People listen and go, "Hey, who was your hated rival?" You go think back. Go high school. College is easy. You can go really quickly. But if you go back to high school, and you think about for all our listeners in there, who was your hated rival? Who was the team you just go, I don't like those. Now me, I can't say hated rival. I say the team you would prefer that we dislike. Because I do not like hate. I don't like having hate in my body. I only hate a couple things in my life, and they're just really, really bad people. But who is the rival you go in high school? You go, that's the one I don't like.
Yeah. Well, um, so I think when we had Fletch on, I'd mentioned because he and I played some sports together, basketball, whatever, and I said we had this incident where there was a fight and the cheerleaders were like throwing their pom poms, whatever, and I said it was Zanesville, but Scott Griffin on Facebook reminded me that it was actually Newark. So for me, Newark was our most hated rival. They had this guy, Mike
Scott
Giommi.
Beery? Oh, no.
Scott, no, yeah.
Sorry.
No, nah, come on, not Scotty. No,
It was a
uh,
principal, all right.
yeah. But they had, so I had that experience as a freshman playing basketball where there was just roundhouse punches. So that was kind of isolated to us. But then when we get to high school, they had this guy who was like 6'9", Mike Giommi, and he went to
Oh,
Indiana.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, he went to Indiana
Yeah.
and went to a Final Four, maybe even won a national championship there at Indiana. But he, was dominating us in basketball, and I played basketball through my junior year, and so it was always tough to go up against them. And they had another guy, Bruce Allen, who was a really good guard and played baseball. There was one of their best baseball players that we always focused. So for me, it was just easy. You could say Upper Arlington was a rival, and there were others, but for me, Newark was our most hated rival when I was in high school.
So I'm going to give my honorable mention in there too. So I have four, and it's the Wildcats, the Bears, the Cobras, and the Ranger Mans. And I never heard a mascot called the Ranger Mans, and I looked it up. I go, what the heck is a Ranger Mans? So yeah, very similar. I don't like animals on some of these things, but I like my animals, but I didn't like. So the Wildcats were certainly Newark. The Bears were Upper Arlington, the Golden Bears, I think they were
Yeah.
called.
Yeah.
The Cobras. So I was a wrestler, and so Canton was our just
Ah.
we didn't like Canton, and there's a Canton Cobras. Hell, I never knew what we were, but those guys kicked my ass. I always couldn't stand. You get out there, and then the last one was I looked up the Lakewood St. Edward wrestling team, and I think I wrestled their fourth string guy at varsity. Their fourth string guy. I actually I had a chance with him. We were faced off, but God bless, they were so good. But I hated whenever they were going coach would go, "Hey, we're gonna go wrestle Saint Lakewood Saint George." You go, "Come on,
No,
no."
that's one of the best high schools in the country for wrestling, not just
Oh my
Ohio.
God! That I mean,
Yeah.
they had some millionaire that had a plane for them to go fly them all over the
Oh,
country to. So there was no recruiting going on at that time. But
no.
Wildcats, Bears, and Cobras and Ranger Mans were my
Wow,
hated teams.
that's weird.
Oh, disliked
Just
people I
like,
did not.
yeah,
Yes,
there you go.
yeah, as a fan, because I was a fan. I was a fan in the watching the football and trying to cheer against and baseball. Man, I watched a lot of your baseball games. We went to a lot. All right, we are now to life's simple pleasures. What do you think, Panda?
This,
Is it you or is it me? What do you want to go? Do you
oh,
want
I
me to
don't, yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead?
Oh,
Is this
okay.
like a face
Yeah.
off? Flip the
Face off.
coin?
Zoom. Yeah, I'll go. So this is really simple for me. So I like a good salad, have salads all the time. So this is actually, you're going to probably laugh at it. And there's a lot of different salads that I enjoy, but it occurred to me as I had one this week that putting feta cheese on a good salad is like a difference maker for me. So I like all kinds of cheeses, and I'll stick them on any of those on a salad. But the only one that really like stands out and makes it different for me is feta cheese. And I don't eat feta cheese on anything else except for maybe a euro, in the rest of my life. But on a salad, I gotta have me some feta cheese. So to me, that is just like a little simple pleasure. I just like the taste of it and the way it interacts with the rest of the dressing and the salad. So for me, a simple pleasure is just feta cheese on a salad. So there you go.
Wow, that is a simple pleasure. I've got a complex simple pleasure.
Okay.
I gotta say, it's a complex simple pleasure, but it's a very simple pleasure, and it just warms my heart every time. And we have one of these simple pleasures coming up in about 1 week and 1 day. And it's about when we get groups of friends together that live all over the place, or you find your friends from all over the place. And it's a complex pleasure, but it's a simple pleasure. I had that same thing. I was down in Florida in Fort Myers, and I got to see one of my college buddies from way back when, and I got to hang out with a couple of friends and snowmobile friends, and it was just getting together and talking about old times. And we have the same thing in a week and a day where there's three families that we have been doing stuff together for many, many years, and it just warms my heart when we always get together and our kids know each other, and we all have those times in life where we get together with folks, and we celebrate those good times because we don't know how many of those good times we get to have as we age through the process. It's very important you go make those times in your life where you get to enjoy each other's presence
Yeah.
and get to have life simple pleasures, even if it's sitting on the back of a boat and throwing a line in the water and catching a little redfish in the back of a marsh area.
Exactly. Here,
It's
here,
about
man. That's
it's about
awesome.
getting together with
Yeah.
some of your friends, and so my life simple pleasure is making those moments happen. I'm trying to make a moment happen where I've got a buddy turning the same age, and he wants to go see ACDC down in Tampa, and I'm going, I'm gonna
Oh.
figure out a way. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure out a way. We're going to go to Tampa and we're going to go see ACDC in Tampa. So, trying to figure out how you take advantage of just moments where you can go meet up and talk old times and have an excuse to go smile.
Yeah.
Because we don't, life life throws a lot at us and we get a lot of frowns in our lives. How do we make more smiles that go on?
Love that. Love
Life's
that.
simple pleasures.
Well done,
All
sir.
right, last segment. We've got 50 minutes into this one. It is now where Andy shines like a star and wheels.
Oh,
Woo! By the
it's
way,
really
I got to
not
get some rules.
hard.
I need A, B, C, D in here. I need like
Yeah.
Regis. I need Regis. Call him back from the ghosts of
Yeah.
the years past and dial a friend. Give me a hint.
Yeah.
Tell me something. I don't have. Connor, I need you on speed dial, Connor.
Well, I
It's
just
stump
realized that,
wheels because it's going to be one. I'm going to
yeah,
sit there and go, I have no idea what you're talking about. So, stump
I don't
wheels.
know. I think I may stump you on this one. I thought it was an easy one, but I read it and I go, it's not, I don't know. So we're gonna give it a shot here though. But it's a comedy. I'll give you that from the 80s, very famous. The line is also pretty darn famous, but we'll see. All right, here we go. Here's the quote. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
It's the movie with Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray, Stripes.
Nope.
Oh, with Tom Cruise and do I have Tom Cruise? It's not that movie with Tom Cruise in it. Life moves pretty. Say it again.
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
That was
Said
Tom Cruise
said with a
and
lot of attitude and a lot of
yeah,
moxie
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. I know the line. I don't know the movie. Hold on. Uh, the four people that get together. Um, the
it's based. The movie is based in Chicago,
yeah, the people that all get the four friends that are all together. Um,
not the
uh,
Breakfast Club.
no, not the
No, not
Breakfast
the
Club. No, no, no,
no.
no, not the Breakfast Club. It's the other one that
St.
there's
Elmo's
one.
Fire.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
No, not that. That was DC. This one's Chicago. How about I give you a one word hint? Hooky.
So it had to be. It's not the Breakfast Club. Oh, oh, oh God, yeah, I should have known this in a for Chicago and It's one of my favorite movies. I watch it all the time. Where they skip school.
Yeah.
Good God bless. And that actress is so cute.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
Mia Sarah or something like that.
Yeah, the guy that was also on Spin City, the other actor, he was one of the guys on Spin City.
Oh, he
What?
was.
Yeah. The main actor,
Glass?
golly.
Glass? Anyone? What's the next word after that? Class? Anyone? Anyone? What's the next
Bueller's
word? Yeah.
Day Off. Bueller. Bueller.
Bueller.
Man, that's a lot of clues to get me to there. I even know that movie really, really well too.
I maybe
Every
could have
time
taken
that
note of
thing
it.
comes up on TV, you have to watch
Oh,
it.
it's
That's
it's
another
one of
one.
the 100%. I'm with you.
As soon
Uh,
as you said Chicago, I was going, damn it, I know. Yeah. I don't memorize
uh,
lines. That's not
uh,
I memorize people around me, what they're saying, like for about 2 weeks. I'm good for that. Then after
yeah,
everything just doo-doo, doo-doo-doo.
I'm really not good with lines either. So if you started stumping me, I'm sure I would not do well either. So,
Yet you always get it.
well, I can pull it out of my butt sometimes.
For all our listeners, I like to take Andy when we go to one of those quiz days in a bar so we can get more free shit.
Trivia. There we go.
Yeah,
I'm hunting down some
trivia.
of those places once we get to the island. Once you get there, we're going to have some of those places identified that we'll be going
Oh, there we
trivia.
go. Yeah, we got to identify those. I'll
Mhm.
be the guy that runs the answer up. And if they ask a math question or something around some around calculus, I'll be the dude. But
Okay.
anything else, I'm just Andy. What do you think?
That's funny.
Everybody, thank you so much for all your feedback. Great cast this week, Mr. Panda. We will try to go out there and shoot you some more information. We know because everybody likes streaming the Red Wheels Panda podcast with mixtapes and mopeds. So please click on there, hit the likes, tell your friends.
Thanks, Wheels. Good show. Catch you on the backside here.